Well, in our last segment, we did hear from Democratic Governor Mark Dayton. Now we want to hear from the Republican House Speaker, Kurt Daudt. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Esme.
All right, let me ask you, in that commercial break, the ad that I asked Governor Dayton about actually ran, where this woman, a farmer in Goodhue County, says, vote against Democrats. They got us into that mess. Is that your message here?
Well, I think, and we're hearing these tragic stories all over the state of Minnesota. It's not just that one family, it's dozens and even up to 100,000 people that are going through this same sort of problem. Democrats got us into this mess. She's right on. And I think what's at stake here in Minnesota is the majority in the Minnesota House. And are we going to turn complete control of state government back over to the Democrats that created this problem and leave it up to them to solve it? And I don't think Minnesotans are ready to do that.
Right. Earlier this week, though, you and the governor did stand together and you said this is not a time for blame. We've got to get this fix done. Is that still the timetable, still right after the election for special session?
It is.
And will your members sign on?
And we have folks kind of working behind the scenes right now, working on finding a short-term solution. But short-term isn't the only thing that we need to do. And I think that will happen in a special session. We have to do that. We can't let these people, I mean, really what we're facing here is some people may have to file bankruptcy or close their own business because of it, and we can't let that happen to Minnesota families. So we've got to do a short-term fix, but we also need the long-term fix. We need to provide more choices and more access to Minnesotans, and we need to bring the costs down.
Right. Well, let me ask you, in terms of the long-term fix, can you see Republicans either here in Minnesota in 2017 and in Congress, I know you're not there, but really get on board for some kind of permanent fix?
Well, we have to. However, I think what worries me is that Democrats right now aren't really admitting that there is a problem. We hear them say that this is not good and it's affecting Minnesotans, but the real problem with this is pretty simple. We've taken what used to be our MNsure pool, our high-risk pool, and we've thrown it in the individual marketplace. And there wasn't enough people to spread that risk, so rates skyrocketed for everyone. We're going to have to somehow either guarantee the losses for the insurance companies on that high-risk pool, similar to what Alaska did. That's the only way that you can draw more insurance companies into the marketplace to provide the choice and the access that people deserve, and frankly that Democrats promised. And I haven't heard Democrats admitting that. Frankly, what I would have liked to heard from the governor is not only an admission that this hasn't worked, but an apology to the Minnesotans that are going through this, and I haven't heard him say that.
Let me ask you, Speaker Daudt, about Donald Trump's visit. We saw the enormous lines there. Yeah. You are one of the many prominent Republican leaders in this state who have seemed to tie themselves in pretzel knots trying to say they'll vote for the nominee or they don't support Trump. I mean, what does this say about where the Republican Party is right now in Minnesota?
Well, I think more importantly, we need to look at why is it that there's thousands of people standing in line right now to see Donald Trump in Minnesota, and Hillary Clinton does not have that sort of enthusiasm. Hillary Clinton is under investigation.
You said that you aren't enthusiastic about Donald Trump.
Well, but I think he's tapping into something that is affecting Minnesotans, and I think it's the same thing that affects us here at the state level. Minnesotans are not feeling a full economic recovery after the recession. They want better paying jobs. They want health care that's affordable, and Democrats have gotten us into this mess that really has hurt Minnesota families. So the same thing is happening at the federal level, and I think Hillary Clinton is under investigation by the FBI. It's the level of corruption in the past on the Clinton administration has been unprecedented, and I think folks are turned off by that. They're sick of politics as usual. They want somebody, maybe they don't like what Donald Trump says, but they like that he's willing to say it, and that's why he has thousands of people showing up at rallies.
In fairness to the Clinton campaign, they have had numerous events stretched out over months here that have been very well attended. Mm-hmm. This is his only appearance here. I mean, do you think he can win Minnesota?
I think it's far more competitive than people believe, and I think he does have an opportunity to win Minnesota. I've traveled up in northern Minnesota, and he is incredibly popular outside of the metro area, and actually surprisingly popular in the metro area. I see very few Hillary Clinton signs in yards, and I see Trump signs, even homemade Trump signs, everywhere. I think people are going to be surprised that he does much better than people think on Election Day.
All right. And Speaker Daudt, any timeline for the special session?
Well, my hope is what we need to do is find a solution that works, and my hope is that we can do the short term and then start to work on the long term solutions. We need to do it as soon as possible to give folks some comfort. And folks
will it happen before December 15th?
It has to. It has to.
All right. Well, Speaker Kurt Daudt, thank you so much. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Esme.